Alright. It's okay, guys. Subscribe to my YouTube channel once again. Today's car, today's video is all about how when to use neutral. We are talking about automatic car. Yes, when to use neutral on and when not to use neutral. So, this is how we are going to do the video. So this is when to use neutral and when not to use neutral on automatic gearbox on automatic cars. So now it is unpacking right now. So you start your car. Yes, you start the car, then you bring the car, the lever, a gear to a drive, right? A gear to a drive. Then we are moving on. You start the car, you are going. But if now if now it's on drive, right, moving on, driving, but when you reach a traffic, you put it on neutral. Yes, neutral. So you put it on neutral when the traffic is long, like you spend much time on traffic, so you put it on neutral. You go by doing this to avoid damaging of to your gearbox. Now you can see it is neutral. As in on traffic, you put it on neutral right now, then you apply the handbrake attached to it. Yes, apply the handbrake attached to it by releasing your leg from the brake. So now it's on neutral, then you will apply the handbrake for by doing this for long traffic. Spend more time on traffic to avoid damage your engine. So when it's engaged, gearbox is working, it affects the gearbox oil by heating and then affect the part of the gearbox inside the gearbox, and the mechanics will be affected. So you do this to save gearbox, to save the gearbox, right, to prolong the life of the gearbox. So it's on neutral now. So if it is on neutral, you then raise your handbrake. Yes, raise your handbrake, then you release your leg from the brake pedal. So now the car is stable, the car will not move on. Yes, so it's stable because the traffic in front of you is long. That means you spend much time on traffic, so you're supposed to do that. By not doing this, you let the gearbox spoil early because of the heating of the gearbox oil. So now the traffic opens, you are going, then you press the brake, you put the gear to a drive, then release your handbrake, then you move on. The handbrake come down, then you move on. So as your leg is on drive, the brake, then release the brake, then you are going. So this is how it's supposed to do to save the gearbox, because by doing this you are separate the gearbox from the engine by engaging them, not engaging them together. So the gearbox will be free, will rest, will not affect the gearbox because there will not be an engagement of the rotation of the gearbox. Because if it is engaged with a long time spent on traffic, it will affect the gearbox, and then gearbox oil will heat, and then it will affect the mechanics inside the gearbox. So you do this to save it down. So this is how it's supposed to do. So now it's on neutral. Lift up your handbrake, your leg is on brake, then you move wheels, then if you are going, you put it on drive, then release your handbrake, then you release your legs, then the car is moving, then you are going. Yes, so this how it's supposed to do. And then this is when not to use. If want to use it, if you don't need to use when you are on a hill. Yes, you are on a hill, you are get down from the hill, right? So casting of the hill, if you are cast on a hill, you don't apply neutral, because if apply neutral, you lose control, and then by breaking two, it affect the brake pad, and your brake pad and the disc will got burned if you put it on neutral whilst you are casting a hill. Yes, so you need not to do that, and it's dangerous, right? And even affect the gearbox. So you do this when you are on long traffic, that it save the gearbox for you. So people complaining my gearbox are damaged and do this because of this. That's why it damaged the gearbox early, especially Suzuki Swift. Swift have a manual clutch inside the gearbox. So once your legs on the gearbox, Suzuki Swift has a manual clutch using pressure plates. So when we're driving like this and you reach a long traffic and not putting it into neutral, the clutch discs will the clutch manual clutch discs would got damaged, and then the roller inside, because it's using roller between the engine and the gearbox. So you're supposed to put it on neutral when you are on long traffic. By not doing this, you engage the gearbox and the engine together, and it will affect the gearbox. So this is how it's going to do. And then by not doing this, don't use neutral when you are casting down a hill, right? Because you lose control of your car, and then the braking system or the braking tool will be affected, because your brake pad will wear out. So you need not to apply neutral or put it to neutral when you are casting down a hill. So you have to put it in mind. This is how neutral is important in a automatic car. And then neutral is important again by towing it. Maybe the car break down on a road and then you want to tow it, you have to put the gear to a neutral before you start. Or if you want to push it ahead, you have to put it on neutral. So you separate the gearbox and then the engine so that it will be free, that you can push it. As it's like the manual car, you put it on free before you can push it or tow it along. So this is how the neutral and automatic car works. Yes, automatic car works. So you're supposed to use it accordingly and not anytime. So you're supposed to use it accordingly to prolong the lifespan of your gearbox, because by not using it properly, it will damage your gearbox and it will cost you a lot. So this is how the neutral on the gearbox is used.